In this presentation, we will take a brief look at some industry background, review what the primary systems airlines use to operate their businesses, discuss how these systems are provided, and introduce and discuss some common industry terms and processes. The travel industry is large, with many different types and sizes of providers. It's a diverse industry and uses many buzzwords, acronyms, and abbreviations. To the typical traveler, the global travel industry includes airlines, hotel companies, travel agencies, online travel agencies or OTAs, car rental companies, train services, and the like. Behind all of these traveler-facing providers is a web of providers that enable and integrate the traveler-facing providers. This includes the global distribution systems, or GDS for short, payment processors, and other back-end technology providers and processors. So just how big is the airline industry? For 2017, an industry trade group projects from revenue of about $763 billion, airline profits will be almost $30 billion. The airline sector return on capital is expected to exceed the cost of capital in 2017 for the third consecutive year. This is only the third year that this has ever happened, and it has a lot to do with low fuel prices. Like most businesses, airlines are always under pressure to reduce their cost and increase their marginal revenues. In this section, we're going to take a look at the primary airline systems. If, for our discussion's sake, we were going to set up an airline tomorrow, what kind of systems would we need to operate as a business? Along with our spiffy new uniforms, we would certainly need some kind of reservation system on which we could make and track traveler bookings. We would need a system to track and manage our inventory of available flights and seats. As an airline, our inventory comprises all of the seats on all of the flights that we have available for sale. So we would have to know for any given flight, on any given day, which seats we will have available for sale. We would have to be able to issue tickets to our travelers, and today that means electronic tickets delivered via email and or text. We would also want to track and account for all of our sales. We would need a system which gathered up all of our sales data and prepared that for handoff to an accounting system. At the airport, we would need to track our in-airport operations. We would need to track passengers who have arrived at the airport, validate their passenger information, ensure that all payments have been processed, and that their tickets are valid. We would also need systems to make sure our planes get off the ground safely, with all of the right bags on board, all of the right people on board, and the weight and balance of the aircraft correctly calculated. Many travelers don't appreciate that the weight distribution on an aircraft has to be carefully worked out. Otherwise, even attempting to take off can be highly dangerous. Finally, we would have to have some kind of revenue accounting system, which, as a business, we would use to produce formal accounting reports. Let's review the actual systems a typical airline uses to operate its business. These operating systems fall into three high-level categories: shopping, booking, and passenger management systems, flight operation systems, and accounting systems. The shopping, booking, and passenger management systems support traveler search for flights and fares, manage the offers airlines want to present to travelers, controls inventory, manages passenger reservation and passenger check-in. These systems include reservation systems, inventory systems, ticketing systems, revenue management systems, and loyalty and reward systems. The flight operation systems process baggage acceptance and routing, and all day-to-day operations required at the airport to manage flight arrivals and departures. These systems include a departure control system, a baggage management system, load control system, that means airplane weight and balance, and a crew management system. Last but not least are the accounting systems, which include the revenue accounting system. We will talk more about the revenue accounting system later in this video. Note: airline solution providers sell an application suite that supports shopping, booking, and passenger management systems. This application suite is generally referred to as the Passenger Service System, or PSS for short. An airline could theoretically pick and choose different components of the PSS application suite, but in reality, many airlines take the entire PSS application suite from a single provider. The PSS, along with the flight operations systems and the accounting systems, are the key applications we would need to manage our airline's day-to-day operations. Let's talk about seat inventory. One of the critical functions a PSS performs is tracking the airline's seat inventory. In this image, you see an extract from a PSS of schedule information available on the Aer Lingus website. What we see in this example are flights, just one way, from Dublin to London Heathrow. The first column lists the flight numbers. The next two columns show the depart and arrive times, and the next shows what days of the week each flight operates. There are 11 flights that operate every day of the week. The aircraft Aer Lingus normally use on this flight is an Airbus A320, which has 174 seats available. If we do some simple math, we can see that for this group of flights, one way from Dublin to London, over a day, there are 1,914 seats available. Over a week, there are 13,398 seats available. And over a year, 696,696 seats are available. Over a year, we're looking at well over 500,000 available seats that need to be managed. That's for just this one-way route between Dublin and London. Now, if we factor in the return flights and then include all other routes Aer Lingus fly, we can understand how quickly the number of seats to be tracked escalates quickly to many millions. Tracking the status and the passenger booked in each seat is a primary function of the PSS. This is just one of the business-critical capabilities a PSS provides to an airline, and demonstrates why airlines are critically dependent on having their PSS system running and available. If for any reason the PSS is not operational, the impact to the airline and their customers can be very significant. Here are some recent high-profile examples of where PSS systems became unavailable unexpectedly. On August 8, 2016, the Delta Airlines PSS suffered a power failure and was down for about 6 hours. This resulted in many flight cancellations, days of disrupted operations, and an estimated $120 million operating loss. At Southwest Airlines, on July 20, 2016, the PSS was operational but was not accessible due to a network issue for about 12 hours. A similar story unfolded, with estimated losses of $54 million and many unhappy customers. Hopefully you see that the airline's PSS is critical to its day-to-day operations and its success. Remember, the key functions a PSS performs are reservation management, inventory management, ticketing management, revenue management, and loyalty and reward program management. Let's talk a little bit about the revenue accounting system. The PSS records all sales transaction data, including payments and tickets sold, with detailed itinerary and pricing information. The PSS passes this information to the revenue accounting system. Some of the functions the revenue accounting system performs include formally validating all transactions, checking for collection errors, detecting potential fraud, and producing financial reports. With just a basic understanding of the airline industry, it's quite obvious that an airline receives money by selling seats to the traveling public. However, what is less obvious is that there are two distinctly different ways this can happen. The first way is that the traveler buys seats using the airline's own website, or mobile application, or maybe through the airline's call center. We might refer to these types of transactions as direct sales. The other possibility is that the traveler uses a travel agent. We could describe this as indirect because now we have a third party between the traveler and the airline. Instead of the airline receiving money directly from the travel agency submit payments to an intermediary trade body called IATA. IATA then passes these payments on to the airline. IATA stands for the International Air Transportation Association and is a trade organization made up of the vast majority of airlines around the world. IATA also provides services to airlines, which include the Travel Agency Payment Processing Program called BSP, which stands for Billing and Settlement Plan. The BSP is the central point through which data and funds flow between travel agencies and airlines. We will talk more about IATA later in this course. This distinction between direct and indirect payments is very important, and we will cover it again in more detail when we look at the various sales channels available to the airline. It's a good time for a break. In this initial video in the Industry Overview series, we reviewed some of the primary systems an airline uses to manage its day-to-day operations. We focused a little on the functions supported by the passenger service system. We took a quick look at the concept of seat inventory. We discussed the importance of the PSS, and we introduced the concepts of direct and indirect payments. In the next video, we'll talk some more about the revenue accounting system. We will discuss the idea of distribution in travel, what this term means and why it is so important, and how it is actually done.